Breaking news, breaking news. Come on in, folks. We are back. A press conference is scheduled shortly. Going to get some information about what happened here with the bombing here in Palm Springs, California. Come on in. One person is dead, according to reports. What's happening here, folks? The American Reproductive Center in Palm Springs, California. There was a terrible incident that happened a little before 11 a.m. this morning, Pacific time in California. A car bomb blew up outside of this clinic. And the FBI, ATF, emergency officials, they're at the scene. We're going to get an actual FBI, I believe it's an FBI press conference that we're going to be getting shortly. So we have a feed where it should come up on this feed here. And when it does, we will stream it. We'll find out the details of here. Maybe they'll even share a suspect's name. A lot of people got rocked today in downtown Palm Springs. Scary times, folks. We'll find out what exactly is going on here, why this individual did this. I want to know name. I want to know back history of whoever this is. I want to know what type of explosive was used in this bombing. Want to know the details. Maybe we'll get details. Maybe we won't get any details, but that's what we're here for, to observe and see things in real time. So this was crazy. We were live streaming earlier. A lot of you probably were in the chat when we were live streaming before. We are back again. And this is some of the scene. Fire, everyone rushed to the scene. There was a fire. There was multiple buildings affected as far as the explosion expanded out, which resulted in numerous businesses around that area there in Palm Springs to get damaged. A lot of window damage, a lot of debris flying out. But what's even more scary is the body that was found in it appears the road. It had a sheet over it. It was significantly far away from where this incident happened. Is this domestic terrorism? Is this terrorism? Or is this just a disgruntled person that had a beef with this facility here? Or is it just a total stranger? Or does it have nothing to do with this facility? I mean, we can only speculate that it most likely has everything to do with this clinic, but maybe not. We'll see what happens here when they speak. Information, maybe lack of information. We might get some details. We might not. They might just pretty much say this is an open investigation and we are investigating it. But at this time, we don't have comment. We don't know what's going to happen. Personally, FBI speaks. They're really tight-lipped about these situations that unfold. But this was the scene earlier. So just kind of share it here until this press conference comes up. We'll keep the conversation going. Scary event here. Witnesses said this was the biggest explosion that they've ever heard. Some people said sounded like an earthquake was happening. Others thought a plane or a helicopter crashed in the area. We've covered many plane crashes on the channel. So we'll see what's up. We'll see what's going on. Fire officials, it seems like they've gotten to that scene quickly. The roads are closed in that general vicinity in Palm Springs. Come on in. Come on in. American Reproductive Centers. That facility said everything. Their egg
are both in Palm Springs with differing vantage points of the aftermath of this deadly explosion. Rob, let's begin with you. What do you see?
Well, we're here on Indian Canyon Way at the north end of the closure, and just a massive crime scene behind me. Nearly a mile of Indian Canyon Way blocked off as part of this crime scene. The blast obviously heard all throughout Palm Springs, but for people much closer to this fertility clinic where it happened, telling us they could feel the concussion of that blast. Now, the explosion was reported just before 11 o'clock this morning. ABC News confirming that at least 5 people are injured, and they believe the suspect in this blast has been found dead. Now, a high-ranking law enforcement told me that this was definitely a deliberate act. An eyewitness telling our news desk that a car exploded on the back of the business. Now, from what we've been able to see from Air 7, it appears as though the car was probably right up to the back of that fertility clinic, and then the blast, the force of the explosion, pushing the car backwards, maybe 30, 40 feet into a dumpster container area. The entire western side of that fertility clinic just annihilated, the wall missing, and then from the force of that blast going all the way through the building, blowing part of that building out onto the other street going the opposite direction. Now, as you mentioned, Desert Regional Medical Center is right across the street, and several windows, dozens of windows, in fact, on the third floor were blown out by the blast. As you mentioned, Air 7 did see what appears to be a body in the street covered by a sheet. Now, we don't know whether that's the body of the suspect in this case or perhaps one of the innocent bystanders. I can say that the American Reproductive Center posted a statement on Facebook reading in part, quote, "We are heartbroken to learn that this event claimed a life and caused injuries, and our deepest condolences go out to the individuals and families affected. We are immensely grateful to share that no members of the ARC team were harmed, and our lab, including all eggs, embryos, and reproductive materials, remains fully secure and undamaged." I should also point out that this is the time of year in the Coachella Valley that the temperatures tend to rise, and a lot of the snowbirds, people who come down from Canada and northern parts of the country to recreate here in the winter, most of them are starting to head home. Add to that a very windy day in the Coachella Valley, and there weren't nearly as many people walking out and about in front of that fertility clinic as there probably would have been, say, 2 or 3 months ago. So that definitely a blessing here. So the investigation continues. We are awaiting a news conference here. We have seen Palm Springs Police. We've seen the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, the FBI, as well as the ATF here investigating. Again, when we have that news conference, we'll bring it to you. Live in Palm Springs, Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, so we're going to switch up. We got a live feed
in
right
tertiary
here.
Buildings from
here we go.
blocks
We are
away
live
in directions that weren't facing this explosion that saw such force. And
now that is the body right there.
Wave that just spread out from this explosion. As Air 7 circles back around, you can see this hotel here. The side of the hotel not facing the explosion, those windows completely blown out. This is on the pool side here of this hotel on the block behind this building. So if you go behind the building where this car was, over the buildings in the parking lot, across the street, into that building, and on the far side of that hotel, we saw explosions. If the camera can also pan up to the Regional Medical Center across the street, there is a patio on the second or third floor, and the windows above that you see there have been shattered as well, and the glass now lining this. That again, across the street, past a parking lot, up several floors. The concussion wave of this was tremendous and did a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job of explaining just how wide the damage really is in terms of from where this explosion happened. And we know that California Governor Gavin Newsom, he is aware of the situation. He earlier said that he is coordinating with local and federal authorities. We know that the FBI has responded with investigators, bomb technicians, and the evidence response team. They have been deployed. We also heard from Attorney General Pam Bondi saying we are working to learn more. And again, so many people responded so quickly to this. Palm Springs firefighters, Palm Springs police, the police chief, Andy Mills, he is asking residents that if they find potential evidence to please leave it in place. He says agents or officers will collect it. And I think that's important to note because, again, we see how far the damage, how wide the damage was done, you know, in connection to where that explosion happened and how far it impacted so many places surrounding that area.
Yeah, and I think we're on the wrong angle to see it now, but one of those buildings to the top of the screen now. On the far side of that, we saw car debris. It might have been a bumper from the car involved. You might be able to see it there in the parking lot, but there is debris in that parking lot, car parts. I think that's one of the bumpers right there from the car, and just scattered debris around here. Now, the body was found on this side of the roadway. This is over on Palm Canyon Drive, which is the main thoroughfare into the city of downtown Palm Springs. There is the body still covered with that sheet lying in the middle of Palm Canyon Drive. The road where this happened on, Indian Canyon Drive, if you know Palm Springs, if you're a resident or a visitor, you know is the northbound route through downtown. So it kind of splits from a two-way road into two separate one-way roads through downtown. Southbound is Palm Canyon and northbound is Indian Canyon. Well, both of those roads are affected here. This is happening on Indian Canyon Drive. That's where we see the debris field. Palm Canyon Drive, which is to the west, which is what we're looking at now at the foreground of this, is where we see the body. Again, not confirmed, but from law enforcement, they believe that could be the suspect, the bomber.
I mean, they said it is the suspect.
Had to be filled into this, looks like a small car. The amount of explosives that had to go into this thing to cause this kind of damage must have been tremendous, just packed with explosives inside this car.
Absolutely. And we know that at least 5 people were injured in this explosion. But, you know, the American Reproductive Centers, it was shut down today. So there were no employees inside at the time of this explosion, thank goodness. And again, they mentioned that all eggs, embryos, and reproductive materials remain fully secure and undamaged. Pretty remarkable considering, again, the size of this explosion. They also mentioned that they will be fully operational on Monday morning, and their team is available to answer any concerns you may have if you have a relationship with that center, if you have concerns. So they will be available to answer any questions or concerns that you may have.
Yeah, very lucky that this happened on a Saturday, which also raises more questions. Did the bomber know that this clinic was closed? Were they targeting this building facility specifically? Why would you do it on a day they're closed? Maybe you don't want to kill anybody, but you want to affect the business itself. We don't know, and we are awaiting word. Let's take a
That's a
press conference.
interesting.
On the
Yeah,
because I see several officials approaching.
okay, we got a press conference coming.
ATF, local police.
We're going to be listening
from the
FBI
as they approach the microphone here. So as we await their approach, again, this happened around 11 o'clock this morning. 1 person was killed, 5 others injured, and we hope to get some information about who did this,
Thank you, Jeff.
why they did it, and any other information we can get, including those on the 5 people who we believe are injured. So as this group of officials approaches, we will get ready to turn it over to them and listen in again. Thank you for joining us for this stream as we look to get more information from the FBI, ATF, local officials, and more. And let's now listen in to this live press conference from Palm Springs on the car bomb that went off outside of Fertility Clinic today.
Let's get started. I'm Lieutenant Mike Villegas. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Palm Springs Police Department. We will have 4 speakers today from the FBI, from the Palm Springs Police Department, Palm Springs Fire Department, and our city council members. So first, we're going to start off with Assistant Director Akil Davis. He's from the FBI in Los Angeles.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Good afternoon. As Mike just said, my name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office. This morning at approximately 11 a.m. local time, our police and fire partners responded to an explosion at the 1300 block of North Indian Canyon Drive in Palm Springs, just behind us, a couple hundred feet. In addition to the FBI, Palm Springs PD, the Palm Springs Fire Department, and other agencies, including the ATF, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, Desert Hot Springs Police Department, Cathedral City Police Department, as well as the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, all responded to this incident. The FBI, which has an office nearby, responded with approximately 6 agents initially. Currently, 1 person who was near the vehicle is deceased, but at least 4 people are injured. I'd like to offer our best wishes to those injured and hopefully for a quick recovery. After my remarks, Chief Mills will provide a status on the injuries, as well as community safety and other road closure precautions. This explosion was significant, covering several blocks north, south, east, and west of the 1300 block of Indian Canyon. Roads are closed as there is wide debris field over 250 yards. The FBI's evidence response team is on scene right now, processing evidence, and will be here for a significant amount of time. Our bomb technicians are working with the post-blast scene as well to determine the origins of the blast. We are working to confirm the identity of the deceased, and we will provide that to you as soon as we can, but we are keeping that close hold in order to protect the integrity of the investigation. Make no mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism. The FBI is investigating it as such. Our Joint Terrorism Task Force is here, working in lockstep with the Palm Springs Police Department, the ATF, and a whole host of agencies that I've already mentioned.
Terrorism.
If anyone has information regarding this incident, I urge them to call 1-800-CALL-FBI for any tips that might assist us in our investigation. Now I'd like to turn it over to Palm Springs Police Chief Andy Mills.
Can you state your name again, please, and your title really quick?
Yes, Akil Davis, Assistant Director in Charge, FBI Los Angeles. Thank you.
Assistant Director on the scene. It's terrorism.
Good afternoon. I'm Andrew Mills, MILLS, Police Chief in Palm Springs. And I'm with me today is our Mayor Pro Tem, Naomi Soto, this side, as well as council members David Reddy, Jeffrey Bernstein, and Grace Garner, and our city manager, Scott Stiles. I am really saddened by today's attack on our city, but I'm also hopeful because this city will rise, and this city has resilient and will be strong as a result of this. I'm also extraordinarily grateful for my partners at the FBI who are here almost immediately. I called Assistant Director Davis, and he happened to be in town, and he came over here, leaving his other appointment, to make sure that we had every resource we need. I can't thank you enough, Assistant Director Davis. I'm also grateful for every other agency in the region here, Desert Hot Springs, Cathedral City, and the Sheriff's Office, all sent officers immediately to help us, and as well as the fire department who was on scene shortly after the blast. We have a rapidly evolving investigation with a massive crime scene. Our first priority was to ensure the safety of our community, and we were very concerned about secondary devices, and so we spent a lot of time and effort working with the Bureau as well as the Sheriff's Office, clearing the entire neighborhood, making sure that there was nothing that could harm our citizens any further.
There were dogs.
But now the real labor starts. With the FBI's field evidence response team as well as our detectives, this is going to take a great deal of time for us to process this scene. And I need to just communicate two things with our community. One, please be patient. There are blocks of debris, and it'll take a meticulous effort to make sure that we get every piece of evidence so we understand very thoroughly what happened. And so people are going to need to be patient with us. And the second thing is if they find pieces of evidence in their yards or in their homes or in their side of their homes, please leave it there where it is. Give us a call, the non-emergency number, and we will do what we can to come and get it as quickly as possible. I also want to make sure that our community understands this is an isolated incident. I am confident that the community is not at risk any longer. So we will continue to process our investigation. We are moving as rapidly as possible at multiple locations, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that we understand the why as well as what happened. Finally, for me, terrorism came knocking on the door of Palm Springs. We survived. And I can tell you that this city will rise and be more effective as a beacon of hope than before. Now I'm going to turn it over to Fire Chief Paul Alvarado.
All right, confirmed terrorism.
I'm Paul Alvarado, ALVARADO, Palm Springs Fire Chief. I first want to acknowledge the horrific incident that our community and city went through this morning. And I want to assure you that the Palm Springs Fire Department arrived swiftly. Our first fire engine arrived in under 1 minute to find a well-involved building that's impacted by structural collapse. Our firefighters extinguished the majority of the fire before having to back out because of the collapse issues. We're working closely with our public safety partners to ensure the community remains safe. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. This is still under investigation, and I can't make that conclusion at this time.
Dude, just answer the question.
I'll let our law enforcement partners speak more to that, but I cannot comment on that.
Hey, folks, let's wait till the end of this press conference where we get some questions. We got 2 more speakers, and then we'll get to some questions.
I'd like to
So
turn
we
it
won't
over
even
to Mayor Pro
confirm.
Tem Naomi Soto.
Good afternoon. My name is Naomi Soto. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Palm Springs. This morning is a terrible tragedy. We have 1 person killed, several others who have been hurt, and our heart goes out to everyone who has been impacted and their families. I want to acknowledge that the building that was damaged is a fertility clinic, and this is a place of hope. This is a building that people go to start or expand their families. We acknowledge their pain and concern across the community. For the ARC patients and staff, this is a building where hope lives, and we are confident it will continue afterward, as their meaningful work must continue. I also want to thank our first responders who ran towards the scene immediately and without delay. They responded and ran towards an unknown danger. Thank you to our brave fire department and our police department. And thank you to Police Chief Andrew Mills and Fire Chief Paul Alvarado for their leadership today during this tragedy. And I also want to thank out to all the different offices who have reached out to offer their support and resources, including Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Alex Padilla, Congressman Ken Calvert, Senator Rosalie Ochoa-Bowe, Assemblyman Greg Wallace, and all of our staff across so many departments who have stepped up today, including our council members and our city manager, Scott Stiles. It's been a hard day. There are several more hard days of work, but as the police chief mentioned, we need our community's patience as we move forward these next few days. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open it to just a few questions. Sir,
Can you verify again the person who died? Is that believed to be an innocent victim, or is it the suspect? And if it is an innocent victim, what do we know about the person who did this? Are they remote? Are they maybe incinerated in the car?
Understood. It's a very good question, and I'm sure you guys will want those answers, and we will provide them for you as soon as we can. At this moment, this is what I'm willing to say regarding that. This is an ongoing investigation. We're not prepared to comment on that at this moment. We're not prepared to provide any additional comments on the relationship between the decedent and our person of interest.
Well, the person of interest is on the street then. Just say, is it him or
We have an
not?
ongoing investigation, and further comments will compromise that investigation.
Come on.
We believe so, yes.
FBI hiding things again.
I'm going to say this again. This was an intentional act of terrorism. As our investigation will unfold, we will determine if it's an international terrorism or domestic terrorism. No matter which one, the Joint Terrorism Task Force is the lead on this, and we will find that out.
As for the explosives, do you believe that this was some type of explosive that was made maybe at home, or is this something that was sophisticated, the operation? What can you say about that?
I can't say much about that right now because it's ongoing.
with your experience, is Palm Springs the only place the investigation has happened?
I'm sorry, sir. Can you ask that again?
Based on your experience,
what would be the amount of explosives that you can fit in a car to create this much damage to walks around?
Let me be clear. This is probably one of the largest bombing investigations that we've had in Southern California. It's on the scale of the Aliso Viejo bombing in Orange County.
Is there a second location in Twentynine Palms off Adobe Road? We've heard there's a police presence out there. Is that connected to this?
Adobe Road.
I'm not prepared to provide those comments at this time.
A witness found a tripod with a camera as if it were being live streamed. Have you heard this? Is that something you're investigating?
I have, and yes, it is something we're investigating.
Mark,
Sir,
you
at
had
this
a
point-
question, Mark?
No, yes. Sir, at this point in the investigation, has the clinic received any threats prior to this incident?
Not that we're tracking.
So is there or is there not a suspect you're looking for?
We have a person of interest in this investigation. But we are not actively out searching for a suspect. That answer your question?
And the suspect's dead.
All right,
No
folks,
comment.
We're going to conclude the press conference. We plan to do something later. Okay, as we get more information, we'll be able to release more information. So right now, that's all we have right now with our press conference. We're concluding it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will reach out to our media outlets to let
Okay,
you guys
we
know
are
when the next press conference.
just awaiting word on when the next press conference will be, but we are just wrapping up that press conference from Palm Springs. The FBI, the ATF is on scene. We heard from FBI Assistant Director in charge of the LA field office, Akil Davis, who apparently was already in Palm Springs at the moment when he was called into action, and Palm Springs Police Chief Andy Mills.
Yeah, Akil Davis said that this is one of the largest bombing investigations they've seen in Southern California. So that kind of gives you an idea of just how big this was. He did also mention that they are not actively searching for a suspect, but that's about all the information we were able to get on the person of interest in this investigation.
It's tough. We know what they're saying. They're just not allowed to say it. The police chief said the public is not at risk. The FBI assistant director in charge says there's a person of interest in this case. We are not actively searching for the bomber. So, we can read between the lines a little bit when we are told by police that the public is not at risk. There is no one else out there. This is an isolated incident. And the FBI says we can't say because it'll damage our investigation. But it sounds like the person who is dead is indeed the bomber in this case. We just need official confirmation from the FBI to officially be able to say that's what they know. Again, the number of injured downgraded from 5 to 4. So that is good news there. This is a large debris field. They said 250 yards around. That's about a 1/7 of a mile is where we have seen debris from this explosion reach, as we have been looking at from Air 7. And you can see live now, there is the building in question. At the center of your screen, the explosion happened in the parking lot. At the right of your screen, the debris field exploding out onto the road, onto Indian Canyon Road, and across the street where we saw damage as well. We do have an interview with an eyewitness who saw what happened today. Let's listen to that right now.
It's like you would throw somebody was shooting at you, or it was a big bang. It startled everyone over here. We all looked around like, what was that? What was that? And there wasn't nothing right here, but in about 2 seconds after the explosion, you seen a big black smoke just popped in the sky, and that's when we knew something had majorly happened. So and then we discovered it was a car blew up. I was looking for the person, and like all the doors were open. The blast blew all the doors open. So there was a guy going in every door asking, "Is everybody okay? Is anyone in here?" And there was no answer. And from the 2 or 3 of us that were standing in the parking lot, it wasn't no one there. It was just debris everywhere. So the only thing that I seen that was visibly safe or alive was that cell phone and that tripod that was mounted to that little fence that he had it mounted to. That's the only thing that was there visible alive at the time.
Yeah, we will continue to monitor the latest development on this deadly explosion in Palm Springs on air and online at abc7.com. Also, check your phone. We will be pushing out any big updates to our ABC7 Los Angeles app.
Couple quick things before we go. The FBI says if you have information on this case, to give them a call. That's 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-225-5324. And the chief of police in Palm Springs says, if you find any evidence, leave it where it is. Call their non-emergency police line. That's not 911 if you're in Palm Springs. Give them a call on their non-emergency line. Don't touch it.
All right, so we have terrorism,
let them know. And then the chief of police saying terrorism came knocking on Palm Springs' door today. We survived and we will rise. Again, we will continue to cover this and bring you the latest on a special edition at 8 o'clock after.
Area of Palm Springs. Again, the Desert Regional Medical Center is just here behind me. That is one of the main hospitals here in the Coachella Valley. And to see this many law enforcement vehicles and this size of this investigation is eye-opening for someone who grew up in this area. I will say that the response, they said, was very quick, and it seems like they're handling it quickly. I spoke to a lot of witnesses here on scene who came and heard the explosion and walked down the street to get videos of what happened just after the explosion. They said they heard it. It was very loud. Some people say they were shook by the explosion walked outside. They saw the smoke, they saw the glass broken, they saw the debris outside. They were trying to share their videos with me. Some of those videos you're seeing on your screen here on KCAL, and we'll continue to gather those videos. But again, for someone who grew up in this area, very shocking to see this. Law enforcement has responded. One person has been killed in this explosion, 4 others injured, according to law enforcement. But people here, law enforcement, seem appreciative that more people weren't hurt. And again, they will continue to investigate. We have heard, in addition, guys, that there is a search warrant being executed in 29 Palms right now. Law enforcement says they're not ready to announce if that search warrant is related to this investigation here, but they have said that they are not looking for the suspect right now. They are not out looking for the suspect, but they would not confirm that the person who was killed in the blast is the suspect in this this explosion here in Palm Springs. So we'll send it back to you while they investigate.
Yeah, and I wanted to
29 Palms,
because they seemed kind of like cagey there and not answering, you know, why they think that the threat has been removed, but not saying that the person who is dead is indeed the suspect or the person of interest. And I think we should point out too that 29 Palms, a pretty small place other than the military base that's up there, the Marine base.
Yeah, 29 Palms, Coachella Valley is generally a massive desert, right? And the south side of the freeway is generally the most populated area of the valley, and the north side of the freeway is less populated, less buildings. That's where 29 Palms is, more of a desert landscape out there. Again, less homes, and so people in that region are reaching out to our sister stations here in that desert, saying that they're seeing these search warrants being executed and that people have been asked to evacuate the area. But I will say that law enforcement did say that this is an isolated incident, this explosion that took place here behind us a few hours ago, and they believe the community is no longer at risk.
It's an important note there. Zach Boetta live in Palm Springs for us, staying on top of the story. Zach, thank you. We'll be sure to check back in with you throughout the rest of the evening.
And in a statement, Governor Newsom saying, quote, "I've been briefed on the explosion. The state is working closely with local and federal authorities as the investigation unfolds."
And U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says she too has been briefed on the explosion. She adds, quote, "The Trump administration understands that women and mothers are the heartbeat of America. Violence against a fertility clinic is unforgivable."
And stay with us for continuing coverage from Palm Springs throughout the evening right here on KCAL News.
Dead after a bomb exploded outside of a California fertility clinic. That blast happening less than a mile from downtown Palm Springs. We're bringing in News Nation national security contributor and former CIA and FBI special agent Tracy Walder. Tracy, appreciate you joining us on this breaking news, and let's get right into this. We know this is being investigated as a possible car explosion. At least one person is believed dead. The consultation area of this IVF clinic where they usually meet with patients was damaged. The actual lab, the embryos are unharmed tonight. Police are calling this an intentional act of violence. So already, Tracy, what is that telling you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. What this is telling me is that they know that this particular fertility clinic was the target of this attack. And in all honesty, it's quite easy to see from the helicopter footage, as this is the area that sustained the most direct impact. So it sounds to me that they know this vehicle was driven potentially with the purpose of destroying or hurting individuals that were within this facility.
And we are seeing video from the ground. We're also seeing that helicopter footage. As you are looking at the photos and video coming in of this scene, what is standing out to you about this blast? What is catching your eye?
Well, a couple things. I think, first of all, this is a relatively urban area. This did not occur on sort of the outskirts of Palm Springs, if people are familiar with this location. I am happy that more people were not killed or severely injured as a result of this. It does look like windows have been blown out of, surrounding buildings within a mile or two radius or so. But the fact that other buildings did not sustain serious catastrophic damage is quite frankly a miracle.
Yeah, a miracle. The doctor who runs the clinic says, thank God today they happen to have no patients. Tracy, are fertility clinics under threat? Could this be targeted? I mean, it sounds like you're saying it absolutely, it was targeted, and police are saying as much today.
I have heard actually of fertility clinics being targeted. We hear a lot about abortion service providers, right, being targeted, particularly by the Army of God, which is a kind of domestic terrorism group, if you will. IVF clinics can also be a target as well for people that disagree with the process. There are IVF clinics that have security, have cameras, those kinds of things, because they are concerned about threats.
As investigators begin to piece this case together, what will we likely learn today? And we hear one of the witnesses who was in the nearby business who says, you know, the entire building shook when this bomb detonated. They went outside. They could clearly see human remains on the ground.
I think the first thing they're going to do, at least in my opinion, is identify the victim, as well as there is a car very close to where the clinic is as well, that looks, for the most part, identifiable right now at this point. But I think those are the two things, in my opinion, that law enforcement is really going to focus on, particularly the FBI. If there's any salvageable, you know, data devices, those kinds of things, it depends in a blast of this nature, what they may or may not have. But the FBI is going to be really, really interested in knowing, because this could be, and I don't mean to scare anyone, but it could be, you know, part of a larger network, or it could be a lone wolf.
We are looking at these photos, the video of the clinic, you know, extensive damage there on the ground. What kind of device does your mind go to that could create such a powerful explosion?
That's an interesting question, because as you mentioned before, we're sort of hearing conflicting reports as to whether or not there's human remains near the scene, or, you know, a car bomb. If it is human remains, I suspect some kind of suicide vest, because yes, the damage is extensive that you mentioned. However, it looks like only the front of the clinic sustained most of the damage, as the doctor has really confirmed that all of the embryos are safe, and those are located further back. So what that tells me, and that's great news for these parents that may have embryos there, what this tells me is it's actually not as powerful of a device, which is why it could be a suicide vest kind of situation.
Okay. Tracy Walder, I really appreciate you jumping on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get facts.
All right, folks. So I got some information. It appears the FBI, according to reports out there and witnesses, it looks like they are in 29 Palms on in the vicinity of Adobe Road and 2 Mile Road. It appears they're conducting a warrant in that general area. And I put it up on the map. I went on flight radar. I can't see any choppers in the sky there at 29 Palms. 29 Palms is like a little bit outside of where Palm Springs is. In order to get from 29 Palms to Palm Spring, you literally have to take Highway 62 and go, go and then go down and then basically connect to I-10. But the FBI right now is conducting warrants at some area around here in 29 Palms, Adobe Road and 2 Mile Road. Now, you see on the map here, it looks like there's a bunch of businesses there. So I don't know what's this about, but apparently the suspect is from this area here. I responded to a few people here trying to get a name of someone, like who could it be? Who could it be? I'm scouting around. I see a Circle K there. I should just call the Circle K right now and while I'm on the phone and just ask them, hey, do you know what's up? Do you know who we talking about? Who's the suspect? Who's the suspect? Matter of fact, just stay with me. I'm going to call Circle K right now while I'm on the phone. And I just want to do this real quick because I just want to find out if we can do a little sleuthing while we're on. This is how I sleuth. So there's a Circle K right there at that corner. So let me just call the Circle K. I'm not going to put it on speakerphone, but I'm just going to call and just say, hey, what's going on? Just bear with me. I'm going to call the Circle K here and just find out what's up. So bear with me. Stay with me, folks. This is sleuthing. We'll see if we can get some info. Because they might know what's going on. Circle K, answer the phone. We'll see. Hey. Hello. Hey, how are you? I'm all right. So, my name's JLR Investigates. I'm a reporter. What's going on around there? Is there like major police activity or what? Oh, you don't see anything around there, like FBI around there, like doing some sort of warrant or anything? Because oh, okay. So this is 2 Mile and Adobe Road, correct? Oh, okay. Because they're saying there's a lot of FBI activity around there. I was just wondering if everything's okay. All right. Yeah, they're tripping. All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. All right. So I just called just talked to Circle K there. So it's apparently it has to be somewhere near there. There's some homes in back of there, a little bit on Homestead Road or whatever. So it could be back in that general area. But the Circle K, he said no FBI. He said they're tripping. He said they're tripping. That's funny. So it could be in one of these homes around here somewhere. In back of there, but the guy there did not know or wasn't aware of any activity. Let me just do a one brief scan here to see if we can find any additional information. I want to know about what's happening in 29 Palms. You heard it on the press conference too. They actually asked them about the warrant going on or something activity going on Adobe, and he wouldn't comment on that. So it does seem like a little bit away from there. There are some homes there. I will keep sleuthing around offline and try to get some details here because I want to know who the suspect is. Like, we want to find this first before it's out there. You know how we do. We dig. We want to find out what's going on. So if you know a name or if you know what's going on or if you know a spot, just throw it in the chat. Where are they at? Where are they at in this area if you know? But other than that, I'll wait a minute here. Maybe somebody will throw something in. But if I don't see nothing in the next minute, we're signing off until we get more information. This is crazy, man. Terrorism is real. The question is it international terrorism or is it domestic terrorism? Terrorism, to me, terrorism is terrorism. But do we have an international element to this? Do we have somebody that came from overseas, came over in the United States and then did this? Or is this a local? Plus, they also said something interesting in that report. They said military out that area. Military. So military, explosives, got explosives here. What type of explosives? So remains to be seen, but we'll stay on this case. JLR Investigates. I'll fill you in. If we get more updates, name a suspect, we'll go do a deep dive on that. But I'm signing off. I'm going to blow myself up here. Thank you for watching, and we will continue to monitor this situation. Stay safe out there. Stay vigilant. If you see something, say something for sure. Thanks for watching, folks. JLR Investigates. We'll talk soon.